Welcome to Fix It Home Improvement, covering projects that every homeowner should know and great products for home and garden.
Hi, I'm JC, and this is where we share weekly home improvement tips. I'm here with my co-host, Cindy.
Hello, JC.
Hi, Cindy. This week we're going to talk about rain gardens, and we'd like to thank KSJ Hawk U81 for a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. I found some information about rain gardens on the Old Farmer's Almanac website this week. One of the most popular almanacs was Ben Franklin's Poor Richard's Almanac that he started in 1732, and he published it for 25 years.
Really?
It was a bestseller in the American colonies, and Napoleon thought it was so good that he had it translated into Italian and French. It had weather forecasts, household tips, puzzles, poems, and Franklin's twist on Proverbs.
Cool.
Franklin's Almanac inspired Noah Webster to publish a dictionary and Robert Thomas to found the Old Farmer's Almanac in 1792. The almanac had weather forecasts, charts for when to plant crops or gardens for your area, stories, humor, cooking tips, and other advice. He had studied under an author of an almanac to learn how to publish it, and he also studied solar activity, weather patterns, and astronomical cycles, and he came up with a forecasting formula for his weather predictions, which they still use a version of today. And it's one of the oldest periodicals in North America that's still being published.
Exciting. What is a rain garden?
So it's an area in your lawn that you dig out a few inches of soil. You're going to create this depression and fill it with plants. And this gives you an area to trap water drainage and runoff. And it's great if you have a yard with drainage problems, like areas with standing water or soggy areas. The water can be drained to the rain garden so it can be absorbed into the soil there. You can drain a French drain, downspouts, sump pumps, and rain barrel overflow hoses to a rain garden, and that's going to keep the water from pooling around your house's foundation.
Interesting.
The USDA says towns and cities also benefit when homeowners create rain gardens to trap water runoff. By capturing rainwater in a rain garden and letting it slowly absorb into the soil, it reduces runoff and contamination to water entering storm drains, and it helps refill aquifers.
What is an aquifer? Because my only reference to that is during Die Hard with the Vengeance, when he's driving through the aquifer tunnel, chasing the bad guys.
Yeah, so an aquifer is a layer of rock or sediment that's completely saturated with water. So if you have a well on your property and you're drawing up your drinking water, it's in that layer of rock that's saturated with water, and that's your groundwater, your fresh water. And we rely on aquifers for about 30% of our fresh water.
Really?
And many of these aquifers need to be recharged with rainwater. The Groundwater Foundation says when water runs off roofs, driveways, and off your lawn onto streets, the water picks up fertilizer, dirt, oil, and other chemicals, and the untreated, polluted water enters storm drains that can flow directly into streams and ponds. The EPA says rainwater runoff is one of the greatest threats to clean water in the U.S., and they say having more landscape areas and rain gardens will help reduce water pollution.
Interesting.
And you'll see many towns now using rain gardens along roadways to reduce water on the roads and water going into the storm drains. It also reduces water into the regular sewers to help prevent sewer backups in basements. When you're planning the location of your rain garden, think about how water flows on your lawn. Will you be creating a swale or using drain pipe?
Hey, I know what that is now.
Or will you be using drain pipe to drain areas of your lawn? What are the locations of downspouts and sump pump discharge pipes? You can also use a rain garden to stop water before it pools into another area. If you have multiple areas around your home with different drainage problems, you can create multiple rain gardens. You could extend landscape areas around your home to a water garden with drain pipe underground, or you can create a decorative arroyo that drains to a rain garden.
Hey, I know what that is now, too.
You want a rain garden at least 10 feet from your home's foundation and 10 feet from a septic field. Most plants need some direct sunlight, so adjust the location, if possible, away from large trees or shade. If your rain garden will be in a shady area, you're going to need to get plants that can tolerate the shade. If your rain garden is closer to your home, the drainage is primarily going to be from downspouts, rain barrel overflow, and sump pumps. Rain gardens that are farther from your home, especially if you have a large lawn, will need to absorb more water. So you're going to want to adjust the size depending on how much water it's going to collect. There are some formulas online you can use to get an estimate of how much water will drain to your rain garden and how big it should be. The USDA says for the typical single-family home, a rain garden should range from around 150 square feet to 400 square feet. And it depends on how much rain you normally get in a storm, how far from the house your rain garden is going to be, and the size of the area that's going to be draining to the garden. Purdue University says rain gardens between 100 and 300 square feet will do a good job of capturing stormwater runoff for most homes.
Okay.
The Chicago Botanic Garden says a rain garden that's 100 to 300 square feet and has a depression of 4 to 6 inches is a good size for the average home. The Old Farmer's Almanac and the USDA recommends the depression should be about 6 inches deep. The University of Maryland suggests 4 to 8 inches deep, depending on how much rainfall you get or how much drainage it's going to need to absorb. During the planning phase, call 811 or go to call811.com, and that's CALL, the numbers 811.com. They're going to contact your local utility companies and have your lawn marked where all the underground utilities are.
It's a free service, so
yes,
you should use it.
Right, it's fantastic. You need to contact them at least 48 hours before you start your project, and any digging should be 18 to 24 inches away from the marked areas, but check the distance for your state because it varies. You can lay out your rain garden like a regular landscape area with flowers and shrubs, or it can be a more natural wildflower garden for less maintenance. You can use the soil that you're removing to create the depression around the sides and the back to build up a raised area they call a berm, B-E-R-M, and that's going to trap water that's flowing into the rain garden. You then want to loosen the soil in the garden and amend it so it will absorb water and improve the soil for your plants.
Exciting.
If you have soil with a lot of clay, you want to amend the soil with sand and compost so the water can percolate into the soil, filter out contaminants, and help refill an aquifer. If you have very sandy soil, adding compost will trap nutrients for your plants, microorganisms, and worms for healthier soil. The Old Farmer's Almanac recommends loosening up the soil to a depth of 8 to 12 inches so your plant's roots can grow larger.
Wow, that's a big hole.
Well, the University of Nebraska says go 12 to 24 inches into the soil and you're going to get much better water absorption. The University of Nebraska says amend the top 6 inches of the soil so that it's a blend of 20% topsoil, 30% compost, and 50% sand. The USDA recommends amending the top 6 to 8 inches of the soil so it's 50 to 60% sand, 20 to 30% topsoil, and 20 to 30% compost. The Rain Garden Alliance recommends amending the top 12 inches of the soil so it's 50% sand, 25% topsoil, and 25% compost. And then once you've loosened your soil and amended it, you want to level it all off.
Okay.
By amending the soil, you won't have standing water for more than a couple of days after a storm, and you'll usually only see standing water for 1 day for most gardens. You don't have to worry about rain gardens being a breeding ground for mosquitoes. The CDC says mosquito eggs that are laid in standing water are ready to hatch in about 5 days for most types of mosquitoes, But if the water evaporates or drains before the larva turns into an adult, they die. You know, the University of California says mosquitoes have been around for at least 200 million years.
No way.
Depending on your climate, your rain garden might just be used for trapping the drainage from an occasional storm, or it might be used regularly for drainage from your downspouts, sump pumps, and your lawn to prevent pooling in your yard or around your foundation. You want to pick plants that will do well in your climate. Native plants that can handle temporary flooding and drought are the easiest to care for. And if you're in an area with regular rainfall, you want to get plants with long roots that can tolerate wet soil.
Okay.
Nurseries and garden centers can help you pick a variety of flowers and plants for your garden based on the sunlight and average rainfall in your area. For many rain gardens, you're going to have to water the garden occasionally to maintain healthy plants because most plants need about an inch worth of rainfall a week.
Right.
Drought-tolerant plants will need less water and will be easier to maintain in some areas. Some online sources to help you pick flowers are Park Seed, it's P-A-R-K, capital S-E-E-D, Burpee, B-U-R-P-E-E, and Dutch Gardens, D-U-T-C-H, capital G-A-R-D-E-N-S. Once you set up your plants, you can add a couple inches of compost to the top of the soil. This will help regulate soil temperature, reduce evaporation, and that organic material will slowly break down into the soil, feeding microorganisms and worms. And earthworms will come to the surface and grab the compost and pull it back down into the soil.
You seem kind of excited about that.
How cool is it? You should add a couple inches of compost to the garden every year. That's going to keep your soil healthy by increasing microorganisms and worms. It's going to keep the soil loose for better water absorption, and it helps reduce weeds. You can also use a product like Preen, it's P-R-E-E-N, to help prevent weed seeds from germinating.
Interesting.
Some top-rated garden shovels come from Fiskars, it's F-I-S-K-A-R-S, Bully Tools, it's B-U-L-L-Y, and Corona, C-O-R-O-N-A. There's an interesting shovel from Earth Talon, it's E-A-R-T-H, capital T-A-L-O-N. It has an offset tip, so it can go through rocky soil and clay easier. Root Assassin, it's R-O-O-T, capital A-S-S-A-S-S-I-N, is a shovel with serrated edges, so it can cut through roots. And there's a shovel called Dig My Shovel. It's D-I-G, capital M-Y, capital S-H-O-V-E-L. It's a lightweight aluminum garden shovel, and this has a lifetime warranty. It's real lightweight, so if you have a large digging project, you're just lifting less.
Right.
I like a round point long handle shovel for projects like this, or a thinner blade trenching shovel. And a wheelbarrow would probably be handy for this project. You'll probably be moving soil around or staging the soil and your amendments when you're mixing it.
Right, yeah. Do you have anything else to add?
When you're planting a rain garden, it's better to go larger rather than smaller if you have drainage problems. And if you're looking for some drainage ideas, check out our episode called Arroyos and Swales.
You should have picked a better title. Let's wrap this up.
You can subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast app.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a review.
You can check out our home improvement videos on our YouTube channel, Fix It Home Improvement.
And you can subscribe to that as well.
You can download our ebooks, Home Improvement Solutions, What Every Homeowner Should Know, books 1 through 13 on Amazon.
If you enjoyed it, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
You can email us at fixitpodcast@gmail.com. You can follow Cindy on Twitter at FixItCohost, and you can follow us on Instagram, Fixit Home Improvement.
Thank you for listening.
Talk to you next week.